In 2013, a man 11 years clean from cocaine lay inside an fMRI scanner at the National Institute on Drug Abuse, and his striatum lit up like he had just used. He hadn't touched the drug in over a decade. His prefrontal cortex said no. His striatum didn't register that information. Neuroscientists still cannot explain why it won't stop. The striatum sits at the center of the brain, roughly the size of your thumb. It has no language, cannot reason. It doesn't know what year it is, or what it cost you, or what you swore you'd never do again. What it knows is one thing: reward. And it has known that since the first vertebrates evolved 500 million years ago. In the 1990s, neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz at Cambridge mapped something extraordinary inside it. Dopamine neurons didn't only fire when a reward arrived. They fired in anticipation. The striatum was learning to predict. Building a map of desire reinforced with every repetition. That map, once drawn, does not erase. In 2006, Yale researchers published findings from a study of long-term alcoholics. Subjects had been sober an average of 7 years. They were shown images, some neutral, some alcohol-related, a condensation wet glass, the neck of a bourbon bottle. Within 280 milliseconds of seeing those images, before conscious thought had formed, the striatum of every alcoholic subject activated. Not memory centers, not the visual cortex alone. The striatum, it had recognized a reward pattern and responded in under a third of a second. The prefrontal cortex activated too. About 400 milliseconds later, it was already behind. The striatum had voted first. And in the architecture of the brain, that vote carries weight the rational mind cannot simply cancel out. The standard explanation is clean enough. Addiction is habit. The striatum converts deliberate choices into automatic loops, the same way you learn to drive without thinking. Addiction, by this logic, is a very strong habit, and habits can be broken. Exposure therapy, behavioral techniques, medication, they erode the response. Time creates distance. Given enough space from the trigger, the brain should reset. It should. In 2019, researchers at the University of Michigan studied individuals with no addiction history. They were shown symbols paired with small cash rewards, then retested weeks later. The pairing had been dissolved. No reward remained. The subjects knew this. They were explicitly told. And yet when shown the old symbols, their striatums activated. No substance. No years of use. One session. And extinction training, the deliberate process designed to eliminate the response, had not worked on the striatum. It worked everywhere else. Neuroscientists named the effect resistant to extinction. The term sounds almost polite for what it means. You cannot teach it to stop. Even when the person who owns the brain is not consciously craving anything at all. Here is where it gets strange. In 2021, a Max Planck Institute team studied patients whose striatal dopamine had been pharmacologically reduced to near zero, part of Parkinson's treatment research. Not addicts. No substances involved. Dopamine functionally absent. They still showed reward anticipation responses. This should be impossible. The textbook model of reward processing depends on dopamine as the carrier signal, the chemical that tells the striatum something matters. Without it, the striatum should go silent. It didn't. Researchers now suspect the striatum encodes reward expectation through multiple parallel systems simultaneously: glutamate pathways, endocannabinoid feedback loops, structural changes at the synaptic level. Meaning the craving is not located in the dopamine. The dopamine is just the loudest voice. Underneath it, something else is writing the same message in a different language. Block one pathway. It reroutes. Block another. It reroutes again. Neuroscientists don't have a unified model for the mechanism. What they have is a description of its behavior. It persists. One leading theory frames addiction as a prediction error disorder. The striatum miscalculates the gap between expected and actual reward and locks the brain into perpetual underdelivery. The fix is pharmacological: correct the miscalculation. Buprenorphine, naltrexone, methadone, they blunt the signal. They work partially, but they must be taken indefinitely. Stop the medication, and the striatum resumes from exactly where it paused. 11 years sober, one relapse, and the brain behaves as if no time passed. The sober years read as a pause, not an erasure. A second theory argues the striatum is doing exactly what it was designed to do: hold survival-critical information in a format that cannot be overwritten. Food, warmth, safety. Substances that hijack that channel do so permanently because the channel itself was never meant to allow deletion. The problem with that theory is it means the striatum is working perfectly. No intervention has been shown to delete a reward trace from the human striatum. Not therapy, not medication, not time, not dopamine depletion. The craving isn't a malfunction. It's the system doing exactly what it learned to do. The question isn't how to stop it. The question is whether that was ever going to be possible at all.